Hi, hello everyone, this is the official K-On Gaming HD and welcome to my grading video for Infamous Second Son. I'm gonna try not to take too long here with this grading video, gonna get this out as quick as possible as I can. Gonna try to avoid spoilers the best I can. I might have to spoil a few things here and there. So if you have not seen my Infamous Second Son Let's Play series, link to the Let's Play series playlist will be down in the description box below in case you want to watch all my Infamous Second Son videos from start to finish. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Infamous Second Son was not one of my favorite Let's Play series that I ever did. It's not the worst Let's Play series I ever played, but it's also not, how do I say this? It's not really that memorable. Like, it's not going to be something that I'm going to, remember 10 years down the line. It's just going to be one of those games that, you know, if I do think about, I'm going to look at it like, I mean, it was okay, but nothing really memorable or anything. I mean, it had a few good moments here and there, but that's honestly about it. So, I just want to get that out of the way that this isn't the worst Let's Play series I've ever done. If I had to pick the worst Let's Play series I ever did, in terms of everything that I played on my channel so far, probably Killzone Shadowfall. Like, that was outside of the graphics and the sound. I mean, the story was just completely just god awful. Like, I don't even really remember that much from Killzone Shadowfall. And that Let's Play series is gone anyway because obviously a majority of my videos I pretty much took down because of the whole COPPA thing, which, yeah, I know that was stupid on my behalf. And it's not just me, my friend Shy also did it with his YouTube channel. We got into a little bit of a panic with the COPPA situation, and, well, we took down pretty much a majority of our videos. And unfortunately, all the Killzone Shadowfall videos are gone. And I do not intend on going back and re-recording those videos all over again. I did not like Killzone Shadowfall one bit, outside of the graphics and the sound. And I guess the multiplayer, whenever you could actually find a freaking room on the multiplayer. But enough about Killzone. This is about Infamous Second Son. This was a PlayStation 4 exclusive that came out in 2014. It was supposed to come out at launch for the PlayStation 4, but unfortunately it got delayed to, I think, May of 2014? May or June of 2014. Around that time is when it came out. It was obviously hyped up as one of the biggest PlayStation 4 exclusives at the time. So, with that being said, let's get to the grading. Okay, I'm going to start off the grading system here with sound design. Now, if I was basing the sound design off of the soundtrack, the music alone, this would be a abysmal 2 out of 10. There's only 2 songs on the soundtrack for this game that I actually really like. One, of course, being Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana. I love that song. And the other one, I can't think of the name right now, but there's another song in this game that I actually like. Besides that, I mean, not really a memorable soundtrack for the game at all, minus 2 songs that I actually really liked. But we're not here to grade the game based off of just the music. We're here to grade the game because of the sound. And the sound design for this game, pretty good. I gotta admit, it's pretty darn good. It's not the best I've ever heard, but it's pretty darn good for a Sucker Punch game made back in 2014. I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10 for the sound design. Could have been better, but not the worst I've ever heard, not the best I've ever heard. It's pretty darn good. So 7 out of 10 for the sound design. Alright, next up here on the grading system is graphics. Now, to be fair, when this game first came out in 2014, developers and video game publishers had not yet fully harnessed the power of the PlayStation 4 software. So, you weren't going to see freaking Red Dead Redemption 2 levels of graphics or Ghost of Tsushima levels of graphics here with Infamous Second Son. But for what it's worth, this game looked pretty damn good for its time. It's not the best looking game on the PlayStation 4, obviously, but for its time when it first came out, it didn't look that bad at all. Some areas of the game, I actually really like the way they look. Like, I love how when you're standing on top of like a really tall building and you look out in the distance, you see the mountains and stuff. That looked pretty good. The mountains, the forest and everything. And when you're, standing over in the area where there's a whole bunch of water, it can make for a very beautiful backdrop. So it does look amazing in some parts of the game. And like I said, for what it's worth, back in 2014, not bad at all. I am going to give the graphics of this game, just like the sound design, a 7 out of 10. Could have been better, but I can understand, it was 2014. They hadn't fully harnessed the power of the PlayStation 4 yet. And for what it's worth, way back when, not bad indeed. 7 out of 10. Beautiful in some parts of the game. Absolutely beautiful. Obviously, the best PlayStation 4 exclusive graphics-wise to come out around that time, even though, again, I didn't like the story, was Killzone Shadowfall. Killzone Shadowfall is a 9 or even a 10 out of 10 in terms of graphics. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. That was one of the probably the only game at the time for the PlayStation 4 that pretty much nearly harnessed the entire processing power of the PlayStation 4 when it came to graphics. But this game also looked pretty damn good in itself too. So 7 out of 10 for the graphics. Oh boy, now here we get to the final two. The two big ones, the two that make or break Infamous Second Son for me. And we're going to start off with the second to last, gameplay. Wow. Oh, man. I like the gameplay here in Infamous Second Son. It definitely could have been better, though. I saw a video after I finished Infamous Second Son. I saw a video. I was looking around on YouTube looking for reviews of Infamous Second Son, hearing what people had to say about the game, hearing their thoughts of the game. And I ran into this one video about Infamous Second Son that pretty much broke it down piece by piece. And I highly recommend going to check out that video. I'll put a link to it down below in the description box below. And he was bringing up a whole bunch of points. Kind of spoiled a little bit about Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. I didn't really appreciate that. Yeah, I never got to play Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, so I kind of got a little bit spoiled on that one, unfortunately. But the point that he did bring up did make a lot of sense. And he was bringing up the fact that in Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, there's more enemies to fight. You have more powers to do. There's more stuff to do in the game. There's way more stuff to do in Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, more powers, more enemies, stuff like that, than there is here in Infamous Second Son. And I like the gameplay here in Infamous Second Son, but after seeing the gameplay of Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, it really makes me wish I could have played Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, and even Infamous 2 Festival of Blood. I wish I would have been able to play that. Unfortunately, I have no way of freaking doing it unless One, I stream it through PlayStation Now, which I am not about to freaking do that. Or two, if I were to get a PlayStation 3 and get a hold of the games that way, which unfortunately I don't have the funds to do that. So, oh well. Gameplay wise here, I mean, all I pretty much did the entire game was pretty much fight DUP, or I get audio logs, or I would figure out, where the secret agent was and stuff like that. It did get repetitive at times. I have to admit, it did get repetitive at times. And not, the fun type of repetitive like in I kind of hate saying this because I'm not even done with the game yet. But like Marvel Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. Yeah, it's repetitive, but at the same time they have their little own spin on it that makes it fun. Like Infamous Second Son, yeah, it was fun at first, but then after a while it just started getting repetitive. And I'm pretty sure if you go back and watch those videos, you could hear me a few times where I'm literally either not saying anything on the microphone at all because I'm kind of bored, or I'm just, sometimes just doing like that, like over and over again, because I'll admit there's times I did get tired of the fucking repetitiveness here in this game. You know, especially when I had to deal with the DUP and they would keep, kicking my ass over and over again, and every time I respawn, I would always respawn at the same exact point where I started the video from. I almost said restart. I basically restart in a way right from where I started the video off, and I have to go all the way back to the area, take care of all the DUP all over again, clear the zone, get 100% completion on all the areas and everything. And I had to admit, it did get repetitive at times. I'm not saying it was terrible, but it did get repetitive from time and time again. So, gameplay wise, based off everything that I just said, uh, I'm going to go 6 out of 10. Like, that's the highest I'm going to go. 6 out of 10. I'm not going to go any higher. I'm not going to go any lower. I think 6 out of 10 is a good enough grade for the gameplay. It definitely could have been better. I would have liked to have way, way, way more enemies to fight, like in Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. I would have loved to have way more powers, especially the, spoiler alert, the concrete power that you acquire at the end of the game from Augustine. I mean, when you acquire it, yeah, it's cool, but think about it. No, really think about it. What is the point of getting the power if it's the final mission of the game? If you do everything in the game, which I did, pretty much everything in the game, when you beat the game and the story's over, what good is the concrete power? What good is the concrete power? I mean, yeah, you could use it, that's great, but I mean, there's really not much you can do with it. It kind of makes it freaking pointless, You wait the entire game to get the concrete power, you get it in the final mission, you beat the game, you already did everything there is to do in the game, and by the time the game's over, I mean, you have the concrete power, that's great and all, but there's really not much you can do with it. It's like, what's the fucking point? So, 6 out of 10 for the gameplay. Not the worst I've ever played. Definitely not the best. Could have been way better. It just kind of makes me sad, though, that Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 were so freaking great. Especially Infamous 2, which my friend Shai called one of the greatest games he's ever played. And to follow up Infamous 2 and Infamous 2 Festival of Blood with this, where instead of adding more, you're taking multiple steps back. Instead of taking 2 steps forward, you're taking, well, forget 2 steps forward. Instead of taking many steps forward, you took many steps back. I don't get it about Sucker Punch. I don't get it about this game. But 6 out of 10, that's the highest I'll go for the gameplay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the story part of the grading system. Oh boy. Where do I begin with this? While inFAMOUS Second Son is not the worst Let's Play series I've ever done, it's not the best story I've ever played in a video game to date here on my channel. It definitely isn't really memorable. Outside of a few moments here and there, outside of a few good moments every now and again, this story was just kind of meh. And that's not to, hate on Delsin. I know a lot of inFAMOUS fans hate on Delsin. They prefer Cole over Delsin, which is understandable. I mean, I can perfectly understand that, but I like Delsin here in this game. I thought he wasn't that bad of a main character. It's just the story didn't really suck me in. It didn't really suck me in outside of a few moments here and there. Especially the side content. It's like I said in the gameplay, like the side content could get really, really repetitive at times. And there was times I was just sitting here like, ugh, why am I doing this? Why am I, going through this? You get what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm just sitting here like, God, this is boring. Can something please pick up here in the story? There's just times I just felt like drained. Like I just wanted to get this Let's Play series done and over with. And the story obviously involves, the DUP, the angels, and that's really honestly about it. Where with inFAMOUS 1 and inFAMOUS 2, you had multiple enemies to deal with. I think you had like 5 or 6 enemies to deal with at one time in those games. Where with this game, I mean, the main focus is pretty much the DUP. I mean, I said the angels, but they don't really play that big of a deal. Like, for a short while, sure, and then they freaking disappear. And it all becomes about the DUP. And, man, fighting the DUP, it just got really repetitive. And even the final mission, when, spoiler alert, you get the choice of either saving Augustine or killing Augustine. And the only way you can kill Augustine is if you have evil karma, which I obviously did not have evil karma. I had good karma, so I got the good ending. I do wish in a way the game would have let you choose regardless. I wish the game would have let you choose regardless if you had good karma or bad karma. If you have good karma, you could still pick the bad ending of killing Augustine, and if you had bad karma, you could still pick the good ending of killing or saving Augustine and turning her in. I kind of wish they would have gave you that option. I love the fact, by the way, that this game had multiple choices here and there in the game. I like video games that do that, but it wasn't perfect. For example, another spoiler, when Delsin's brother dies near the end of the game, if you have good karma, obviously he's going to tell you that, he loves you, that he respects you, and everything you've done, that he looks up to you, and that he'll always remember you. Okay, great, fine and dandy. But if you had bad karma, he says the exact same thing, how he still loves you, he still respects you, even if you've pretty much become a fucking serial killer, and killed pretty much the entire freaking city. He'll still love and respect you regardless. Where in Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, if you have good karma, you'll get good outcomes. Like, for example, there was a character, I can't remember which Infamous game it was. I think it might have been Infamous 2. There was a character that died. I don't remember her name, but there was a character that died, and if you have good karma, she'll tell you how she loves you and respects you, and that how, she'll always look up to you and stuff like that. Where if you have bad karma, she'll say that she hates you for what you've become, and that she hates the route that you're going down and stuff like that. They didn't do that here with this game. Sure, they had good karma and bad karma, but not to the extent that Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 played it out. So, and the boss battle at the end of the game, while it was difficult and it took me several tries to beat Augustine, I even got pissed off several times battling her. I played this game on hard mode, by the way. I played this game on the hardest difficulty. I played the boss battle on the hardest difficulty in the game. And it still took me about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to beat her. Like, it took a while, but it didn't take too long. I felt like the boss battle at the end could have been way more difficult. Now, I know that's funny, me saying that. Me wishing it would have been more difficult, because you guys would have loved to, you guys and gals would have loved to see me rage a lot harder than I did. But, the entire game's been building Augustine up as this big, badass, super villain. And at the end, yeah, she's tough, but she wasn't really that tough. So, when I beat her, and the way it is hard to explain. Just go check out the final Infamous Second Son Let's Play video that I did if you want to understand. If you want to understand exactly what I'm saying here. Overall, I'm going to give the story a 5 out of 10. That's the highest I can give it. A 5 out of 10, which is an average grade. It's not terrible. It's not bad. It's just... It's good, but it's not that good. Like, I'm not going to be thinking about this game 10 years down the line and think, oh man, Infamous Second Son had such a great story, it had such a legendary story, blah 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 blah. There's really nothing legendary in this game to remember. There's a few moments that are pretty darn epic, but that's honestly about it. So 5 out of 10 for the story of Infamous Second Son, and that's the highest I'll go for the story. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for me to give my overall final score of Infamous Second Son as a whole. Infamous Second Son is definitely not the best PlayStation 4 exclusive for the PlayStation 4 console. There are way better exclusives for the PlayStation 4 brand. I would say if you have a PlayStation 5 and you have PlayStation Plus, obviously you would have access to the PlayStation Plus collection. I would recommend playing this game, but only 2 playthroughs. One playthrough on good karma, and another playthrough on bad karma. Once you do 2 playthroughs of this game on good and bad karma, that's pretty much about it for this game. Unless you want to pretty much just go around free roaming, but there's really nothing to do once you beat the game, so 2 playthroughs and that's about it. There are better PlayStation 4 exclusives out there. To put it simple, put it simply, there are better PlayStation 4 exclusives out there to play over Infamous Second Son. This is a game that's pretty much a 2 playthrough experience, and that's about it. So my overall grade for Infamous Second Son is a 5 out of 10, which is right in the middle. Not a terrible game, not a bad game, not a very good game, not an excellent game, not an essential game or a legendary game. It's just meh. It's something that I would recommend to you only if you have access to the PlayStation Plus collection. Maybe if you want to pick it up on sale. If you want to pick it up on sale, I recommend getting it at about $10. I mean, that's the cheapest I've ever seen it go, is $10. If you ever see it go on sale for $10 and you want a game that's good for 2 playthroughs and that's it, and you'll get at least 5 to 6 hours of gameplay out of, I mean, 2 playthroughs would pretty much take up an entire day. Sure. I mean, if you want to pick it up, sure, fine and dandy, go right on ahead. But overall, not my favorite Let's Play series. And unfortunately, that's it for Infamous content. I mean, I don't see me ever playing Infamous 1 or Infamous 2 here on the channel unless I get me a PlayStation 3 and a capture card. Or if they were to magically remaster Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 for the PlayStation 4, which I don't see them doing that because they're literally working on the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. So I think we're pretty much done with Infamous. And what a sad way to go out. Like, think about this. Unless Sucker Punch were to surprise us, this is the last Infamous game we're ever going to get. What a sad, sad way to go out. After the success of Infamous 2 and Infamous 2 Festival of Blood, to come out with this, and it's not terrible, but to come out with this as a way to signify the end of the Infamous franchise as a whole, is kind of sad. It's like Infamous went out with a whimper. Instead of going out in a blaze of glory, it went out with a whimper. What a sad, 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 sad way to go out. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching my grading video for Infamous Second Son. I can't really call this a review. I call these grading videos because I'm not, I'm not a video. I don't try to be a video game reviewer or anything. I'm not like Angry Joe or freaking IGN or something like that. I'm not one of them. But I do grade games when I beat them. I do give games. I can't even talk. I do give games a grading system when I do beat them. I never did a grading system for Mafia 2. I almost said Infamous 2. I never played Infamous 2. I never did a grading system for Mafia 2, and it's been such a while since I finished Mafia 2. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much, it's pretty much hopeless to even do a grading video for Mafia 2 anymore. I will say I loved Mafia 2. I loved the story of Mafia 2 and the gameplay for the remastered version, minus, the glitches and the bugs and stuff, and that one time it did crash on me. I had a lot of fun playing Mafia 2. So, if you want to know my thoughts on Mafia 2, there you go. But that's going to do it for this video. I got one more grading video left to do, and that's God of War 3 Remastered. And then I say goodbye to PlayStation Plus for now. PlayStation Plus is about to expire. I won't be renewing it anytime soon. Maybe someday I'll renew it. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I am out.